The world of automations in iLevel is undergoing a massive, massive transformation. And in this video, I want to walk you through some first impressions and some of the big changes that have happened, show you how to navigate those, how to turn this on in your account, and some cool use cases that you might find applicable for you when you're building and setting up your HighLevel account. Let's dive right into it. And so I'm inside of the workflow builder here. And this is now kind of the latest look where they've got the build with AI beta there, which we've shown on other videos, which is pretty handy, kind of taken after Zapier's prompt to build automations design. But I want to call your attention over to the top left, where you can toggle between standard and advanced builder. Depending on when you're watching this, you may actually not have this option. You're going to want to go to labs. I'll link over here. There's another video I show you how to turn on all the hidden features and to navigate that between the agency mode and a sub account mode there. But if also depending on when you're seeing this, it might already be live for everyone. So you should see it over here in the top left, the toggle between standard and advanced. Immediately, what you'll notice is it goes from a vertical building style to now a horizontal building style. And this is kind of like going after a Zapier build style to more of an N8N or Make style builder here. It also allows you to set up different starting points or kind of nodules or nodes to catalyze different automation flows, all in this one advanced builder. Now, from a strategic standpoint, it really comes down to building something that you're going to use that you like. It's like the question of what's the best camera? And the answer is the one that you use, that you take photos with. So that might be your cell phone. But so you see here, I can start. My first step can be an action or it can be a trigger. And the reason for that is because you can send contacts into an automation from another automation or manually from the contact screen or from the smart list there. And so you don't always have to have a trigger. And that's where inside of the vertical builder there, you just wouldn't put in a trigger and just start with the action. Here, it's kind of first step. So what do we want as the first step? And so still more commonly, we think about this in triggers and actions if it's running autonomously, if everything that's needed for it to run exists inside of the workflow here. So we're going to pick a trigger and we're going to just show you what's a common flow might be. So the birthday reminder, one that I love, where it's going to automatically run for any contact that has a birthday. And you see our filter options here might be like, okay, let's run it a couple of days before. So we're going to do before, number of days, and we do 3. So 3 days before their birthday is our first action. Then we can continue building into our other actions here. So you still have things like webhook, and you still have your premium actions like custom webhook. But this is one that I love for sending out postcards or other mailed goods here. Depending on the provider that you're using there, you could have like a webhook that's sending that out to actually send a card, and that's why you do it 3 days before, maybe a week before. I might have another wait step in here where I want to wait, let's say 2 days. So this started 3 days before or some period of time before the birthday, did some actions that I wanted to do before the birthday, and I'm going to wait basically until the birthday. And I'll show you all the same sort of options that you have in actions and triggers here. We can retitle stuff are still available to you. And this side of it feels very familiar when the actions come out here. And let's say we're going to send an email. Now we can run through the typical things that we'd want here. If you have you can use the builder form. Now you can do that directly inside of this. This is independent of the advanced workflow builder, just advancements that they've made to the email action. Now you got quick compose. You can do it from a smart builder, or you can pick a template if you already have one here. And now you can kind of go straight into this style. So if I choose this design editor, it kind of does a pop-up of the email builder. So now you don't have to navigate over to the email marketing side of it. You can do it directly within the automation and the workflow there. Actually want to go, I'm actually not going to use this. Create the template there. I'm going to remove the design. I'm going to use the smart builder and well, you can go either way. If you use just the code editor, what's nice about this is you can now prompt to build the email. So if you're doing one-off stuff and you just want to do it really easily, this is where you could use a large language model and have it prompt to build out the HTML required for your email, and then you can copy and paste that in there. I'm not going to save it as a template, but I'm just going to use that as our email here. CC now has that option in there. These are just some email enhancement options that I really like. The tracking the clicks and the UTM tracking, where now you'll see if traffic or sales are attributed to email nurture that you've put in place. You can actually see that now, and it'll natively do that. And so, but our intention here was a simple automation, like sending them a happy birthday email. And so there's a very simple automation built in the advanced builder here. But part of the advanced builder is you're not limited to this kind of, sort of linear path or singular path there. And so I can add in other triggers just like you could before, but let's pick let's pick something unique. Pick an email event. And we'll actually say it's inside of, let's give this a title. With a reminder. We're going to disregard that. I have autosave turned on, and so now it's kind of nice there. I might still need to refresh sometimes to use and reference workflow specific events. You might have to refresh it, even though it autosaves, which is nice. But that was kind of a condition always to reload the data in there. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. You see it's not referencing that workflow as a possible drop-down option. And by that workflow, I mean the workflow that we're inside of. But you kind of do have to refresh the workflow to now have it as an option. So now if I go back and choose birthday reminder, there it is. We have that option. And I can say, well, which event do I want to, let's do opened. We only actually have one email in here, so it's not that crazy. So now, like, I can add this and do something else. I'm going to break that chain there. As you see, I can have my trigger. It's going into that action. I don't have to go into that action there. I can do something else. And let's change, let's make it an SMS. And get fancy with it. And so we're actually going to break that chain. Break that chain. Nope. You see when I dragged that across, got this sort of like dotted line path. And so I essentially have two triggers running two side-by-side automations. I'm not sure why this is showing up dotted. Let's go ahead and it's auto-saved. And so let's go and add another wait for 1 day. Wait for a couple minutes. I'm going to refresh because I'm not sure why this is showing up as a dotted line. Well, this truly was a first impression. So what else you can do? Here I'm literally just like noodling with all of the automations and really trying to think through what would be a good series of them. Ultimately, where we landed is having just two side-by-side automation flows. So you got the birthday reminder, and then you have a separate sequence here that says what happens when they actually open the birthday email there. And so if they open the birthday email, you also send them a text, you wait, and then you also send them a DM here. Conceptually, this comes down to how do you prefer to organize stuff? So you can create massive workflows that are running all sorts of things. If they're related, maybe it makes sense to join them together. And so now you can have independent triggers running independent flows and not having to do a kind of like a wild series of if else's like you would have to do previously with the vertical builder. But just understand that for like auditing automation flows, if they're completely unrelated, it may not be helpful to have all of them stacked into one advanced builder, even though that is possible. I'm going to call out this kind of cool organizational thing. This is the format tree. And so if you just want to clean it, you can see I can click there and sort of clean it. Actually, don't love how close that made it. But if you get wild and unruly and just out of hand, you can always come back there and sort of format that, which is pretty handy. So first impressions of the advanced builder is this is going to be the new way. And so we'll consider building, like I think everything's going to start to be built this way, even when you have if-else paths. But what this really allows you to do is not have to use as many if-elses when you're building through the automation, because you can run through a different series, even kind of like, initiating strings of automations and then follow-up strings of automations in this case. So I basically have a regular birthday reminder that's running. And then if they open the email, then I'm sending them a birthday text and a birthday, Instagram DM. If we have the connection there. So kind of a cool, different approach to building automation. It's going to be very familiar for anyone who's using N8N or Make. But for those of us coming from Zapier, it's a little bit different style. And but I do think it's more in line with what we should expect to see going forward in the future. And so if you're looking for more advanced tutorials, I have way more stuff coming out. I just want to give you your first impressions. If you're kind of like new to the tool, want to know, like, is it even worth it turning it on or off? How do I find it? How do I turn it on? That's what I wanted to cover in this video. And so if you liked it, let me know in the comments or in the like button over there, and I'll see you on the next video.